everyone in the podcast live stream universe. I am Josh, the Human Snow Cone. I am joined by the one, the only, the Godfather here on Pinfall. If you will, Mr. H.D. Morgan.
How you doing, man?
Dude, I'm doing good. I've got
Good.
a whole lot to talk about.
Oh yeah.
And we're really just gonna recap everything that's been going on because there's a lot to talk about. We haven't really done a real show in a while. We did a little bit of a recap last week, but I also really wanted to talk about Grand Slam, which we didn't get to talk about because we had that awesome Alex Zane interview. I wanted to talk about Grand Slam week for AEW. I wanted to talk about the Daniel Bryan match. I wanted to talk a little bit about some Dark Side of the Ring episodes that have aired in the last couple of weeks. So we got a lot to talk about. So we're going to jump right into it and jump in and on that new... Well, you know what? This week... So I'm going to be fair. There's two, because I didn't do this last week. I could not do this and not say that the Daniel Bryan Kenny Omega match isn't one of the greatest matches in professional wrestling in the United States in the last 10 to 15 years. Did you go back and watch any highlights? I know you don't get to watch live very often, but
yeah, I went back and saw some highlights of that match.
It was a technical masterpiece. Like, people can shit on it all they want, but Daniel Bryan and Kenny Omega are two of the greatest in-ring performers right now.
Agreed.
And they put on a technical masterpiece. And people could shit on the time limit draw, but I think we did discuss this a little bit last week. It's how it needed to end. It needed, I don't want to say it needs to be used more in wrestling because I don't want people to overuse it, but like people have forgotten that like before there were false finishes and countouts and double countouts and all that shit that WWE pulls to move a match past making two opponents look strong. There was a time limit draw. That's what they're made for, is to make two opponents look strong. But after that, I have to say, match of the week this week. I am so pumped. One, great match. It was an amazing match. Both opponents still came out looking strong as hell. People have been talking about how the TNT champion it's not lasting long, but, and you'll probably agree with this, Will, the TNT champion is a TV championship.
Of course.
It's never meant for someone to hold for a super long period of time.
Right.
Once it gets some legacy behind it, there will be that one guy who comes in and holds it for a year or whatever. But it's not meant to be held for a long time. It's meant to put on a guy who is having a hot run or they're needing to establish, let him establish, and then move on.
But they haven't figured out who that Arn Anderson is yet. So until they do that, that's where that title has to be.
Oh, yeah. You think it needs to be the Arn type that holds it?
Yeah.
Dude, did you see his promo this week? Not to shift. He promoted on Cody, and you haven't seen any of these memes? He told Cody,
I seen one.
He told Cody, he said, you know the difference between you and me is if a guy pulls up to you and tries to steal your car, you're going to give it all to him. I am going to pick up that Glock, put it against his skull, pull the trigger, and spray his blades all over the concrete. And then he called Cody a loser and left. So it's interesting. I think Cody's about to have a heel turn. Like, I think the fans have naturally turned on him at this point, so I think he has to.
Yeah, it makes sense.
But to get back to this, well-deserved or you don't like it?
No, I think it's well-deserved. I think it's really well-deserved. It shows that what AEW can do with their own, and he also took down someone who was undefeated. So You know, you got to give him props on that, and I like it.
I love Sammy. I love what he has become under the tutelage of Jericho and the Inner Circle, and I do like that he is now off on his own. And God, that match, as I was saying, it was a great match. They did it well. It wasn't all spots, and there was all the good moments in it. And yeah, I think this was the right move. I was getting a little bored of Miro. Just these, and a lot of his matches weren't even longer than 2 minutes. It was the same thing.
Yeah.
Like, it's just this, and I get the style they're trying to build with him. People are saying it's time for him to move on to the world champion. I don't think that's quite in the cards for him yet. But that's where I wanted to start to talk about those two amazing matches we've seen in the last few weeks. But now we can go into news because there's a lot to talk about in the news.
Oh, yeah.
So going on in the news, we got signings. We got a lot of rumors of signings. We got WWE guys that have been released over the last year being told they're going this place, that place. You got AEW's 2-year anniversary. Holy shit, bro. AEW celebrating 2 years.
Already.
This week, we got so much that we got to talk about on that. And I'm going to let Will start it off because I know he wanted to send out a congratulations and a little talking to one Kiera Hogan.
Oh yeah, I gotta say congratulations to my girl, man. You know, if Ember Moon's my wife, Kiera Hogan is my mistress, and congratulations to her. She saw AEW this week. So happy for her. You know, I remember her years ago when I
got her first win at AEW from a pinfall alumni. Took her. I hate to say this, but took a win against Layla Gray.
I remember when I interviewed her when she first debuted on the scene. She was wrestling over in Thompson, Georgia, which ain't that far from me. She was wrestling over there, and she's just grown to be where she is today. I've interviewed her once, and she was a co-host for the Wrestling Calling Show back in the day. So yeah, man, very proud to see her doing her thing. Love her to death. Now the way she got signed, I thought was a full-time deal, but apparently not. It was more like a part-time per appearance type of deal. But me and Josh talked about that earlier, and we think she'll come up from that and get on that main roster full-time, do her thing. And man, I'm so very, very proud of Kiera. She deserves it, bro. She deserves it. She's a sweetheart, man.
I'm happy. That's one of the things I'm loving about AEW. And like we talked about it. I listen to podcasts, and it's just giving wrestlers another option, making WWE not the only option for these guys.
Right.
And we've talked about there's not a lot known about WWE's tier system, but they have a tier system. One is like per show. The next one is like a part-time dark almost like enhancement deal.
It's just you just don't know for sure. You don't have rumors what WWE is doing right now, and I don't like what WWE is doing right now as a whole. This whole draft situation, the way they got Charlotte Flair.
Oh, dude, if we're going to talk about WWE as a whole, we got to dive into the Elimination Chamber. Last week, Finn Balor, Roman Reigns, Finn Balor about to hit the coup de grace and win it, and then John Cena gets involved in the rope breaks. Dude, I've seen video. There's now video out there from fans of catching a cameraman jump on the ropes and cut it. It's a bullshit ending.
Yeah.
There hasn't been a more bullshit ending in the last 10 years other than the feed ending with Seth Rollins a few years ago.
They tried to take a page from Rocker's Heart Foundation back in the day. When the top rope broke and the Rockers won the match, won the titles, but then the Heart Foundation was tripping, and then after they started tripping, they reversed the decision. I'd be like, bruh, that was bullshit too.
Yeah, it's. I don't agree with it. It was a really bad call, really bad creative. I don't understand how the same people who are writing Raw and SmackDown right now are also the ones now writing NXT 2.0, which hasn't been bad. I don't know if you caught any of it. It's not been as bad as I thought it would be.
I know we got new women's tag team champions over there.
New women's tag team champions. Mm-hmm. Roderick Strong is the national champion right now. Mm-hmm. You got Tommaso as the champion, which I can never hate on Tommaso holding gold.
No.
Yeah, that on the other end, some of the decisions they're making, I don't understand it. But to get to some of these rumors and signings of rumors and all of this, where's my mouse? So, okay, let's look at the date. I think it wasn't the last pay-per-view, but it was the pay-per-view before last that Lio Rush was the Joker in AEW's Casino Battle Royale.
Remember that.
And then not 2 weeks later, because of an injury he took in that match, he retired from professional wrestling.
Remember that.
Well, as of this week on AEW, Lio Rush is no longer retired from professional wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
I'm telling you, him and Kylie Ray, I don't know what's up here.
Issues.
In the time we've had this show, which is just about a year and a half, going closer to 2 years, somewhere in there, but both of those people have retired like 3 times.
Mm-hmm. Issues, man. Issues.
I don't know how I feel about the gimmick they're pushing on Lio Rush for AEW. He's also about to make his GCW return next weekend.
Yep.
I've said this before in talking with Alex too. GCW is about to hit a new level. Like they're about to be on that MLW level as independent. Like just like barely an independent. If they could get a TV deal, they could really push that forward.
There was a title change in MLW too.
Oh yeah, did you see that? Did you see who it was?
Yeah,
Tajiri is the new middleweight champion in MLW.
I was sort of kind of shocked by that just a little bit, but yeah, man, I wasn't expecting that. I wasn't expecting that at all.
Mr. Wade in the building, ladies and gentlemen, and that's the snow cone to you, sir. Get it right.
But I wasn't expecting that to happen in MLW, but hey, it's something different.
Well, and I had heard that Tajiri had retired, so like MLW is doing the damn thing over there. I'm really excited for some of the moves they've been making. I would really like to see them use the Forbidden Door a little bit more.
Yeah. Now there's rumors. We talked a couple weeks ago, and it seems to be the rumors are even getting more swirled up that Braun Strowman is going to go to Impact.
Well, that was my next one. Impact Wrestling reported heavily interested in signing WWE star Braun Strowman.
Mm-hmm.
I said this from the moment of his release. That is the one that Impact needed to pursue because AEW has enough big guys. A lot of them are getting overlooked because they have so many.
Mm-hmm.
Impact needs. Excuse me, I'm sorry. Impact needs a big star who has followers. Who Braun's not terrible on the mic. He's not great, but he's not terrible. I think Braun could really put some eyes on Impact and have some good storylines over there at Impact.
I think so too. He's got, like you said, he's got the following. Everyone knows who he is.
So. He'd be a good one to bring over too, to break the Forbidden Door over, because you bring Wyatt in. Because that was another thing. Rumors running crazy that Bray was going to debut this week in Rochester, and he didn't.
Mm-hmm.
You bring Wyatt in the AEW though, and you bring Braun in the Impact, and you still form the Wyatt family crossing these two promotions.
Yep.
especially with the Bullet Club coming into Impact. You got the Elite on both sides.
Mm-hmm.
You're starting to get factions like back in the day that used to expand territories.
Yep.
And that interests me because that will open up so many fucking stories between shows where you actually got to go watch. You got to watch AEW tonight, but that story is going to continue. There's a match that's going to coincide with that story on Thursday night on Impact.
Right.
And then you got to go watch New Japan Strong to catch more of that story. That, to me, is the smartest thing these companies can do if they really want to compete with WWE. Bring eyes to all the product.
Yep. And plus, it gives you that old school feel from back in the day, too. Because you mentioned it. You have all those factions that we had back in the day, and it brings up conversations over which faction is best here, which faction is better there. And it gives you sort of kind of that old school feel that we had back in the day.
Okay, my last bit of news that I wanted to talk about, and then we'll take a break.
Mm-hmm.
And then the discussion for tonight, really, I just want to talk about kind of the lineup for AEW's 2-year anniversary, because I feel like this is a big deal. And then I kind of want to talk about where they've come in the last 2 years and
I can't believe it's been 2 years already.
Well, that's what I want to talk about. Is like where they've come in the last 2 years.
Wow.
And how they're performing and where they could be going. So
that's quick, man. That's real quick.
I wanted to talk about the show this week, and in the Dark Order match versus the HFO. I'm going to be honest with you. I teared up. And I know Will has a thing about people crying at wrestling.
Yeah, you cried at
I finally have a rebuttal for Will. And this is the fact. Because I believe that if the Road Warriors could walk to the ring right now and win a championship in true Road Warrior fashion and hold that up, Will would probably be in tears. Because it's a team that has meaning and feeling to him. Will loves wrestling.
Yep.
And he does this show with me because he loves wrestling and still follows it. Mm-hmm. But does he watch AEW and WWE on a regular basis? No. And so on that note, he's not super tied in to the storylines and the people, and hasn't been in several years.
I don't understand why people cried at Punk. Look, Punk was gone 7 years. You know, at some point he was coming back. He got this little thing called bills, like we got. And
well, but, he didn't do it. This had nothing to do with it. He making actor money, bro. This had nothing to do with money. Nothing to do with money. I guarantee you AEW not paying him that much money.
I just don't get the tears.
Why I teared up with the Brody Lee thing is I truly believe there hasn't been a death of an active wrestler handled better than the way that AEW handled the Brody Lee situation.
I agree.
The way it was kept secret all the way until he passed.
Mm-hmm.
The way they honored him after they passed. Mm-hmm. The way they have continued to keep his son involved. Make sure the kid stays on the good arrow. Make sure that he's not losing his mind over losing his dad.
Yeah.
And then that match this week with the Dark Order, and they've been feuding storyline wise and everything since the Adam Page thing. And because of that, they come back together because Amanda Hubbard comes out and Ty Conte and God, Anna Jay. Oh. Jungle Boy is a lucky motherfucker.
Yeah, lucky dude, man. Lucky dude.
And just the way it ended, and the way that show ended with them holding up -1 and in Rochester, where Brody was supposed to debut almost a year and a half ago at that point. And all the stuff they went through trying to get that show happening, it did. It brought me to tears because it was handled so well. And for a man who wasn't in the company very long, he sure had a lasting effect.
He did.
And I truly, AEW says this, but he was, even though it was a very short reign, he was probably one of the best TNT champions because of the way and the story that on how he got it. And then the story after, why he dropped it, all of that.
I think the closest I ever came to crying in the match was when Ember won the NXT title. I think that's the closest I've ever come.
But that's probably the last time you were super involved in something, in wrestling.
That was the closest that I came, to, because I was proud of him, man.
But on that note, we're going to take a quick commercial break, and we're going to come back. Probably shorter on the show on the shorter side, guys. We're going to come back and talk about AEW Dynamite 2-year anniversary and where they've come from and where they're going. We'll be right back.
Up like we do. No one does us like we do. Always go hard with this crew. Welcome to the show, let's make moves. Nothing's gonna stop us, it's not to get rough. Turn the whole room up, it's never enough. Let's go, 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 let's go.
All right, and that was Geek Gauntlet. You catch that every Saturday. Will Shaw talking all things geek on the William Morgan Media channel. Then Drop the Bike podcast. Me and Pun talking all things music on Tuesdays, 9 Central, 10 Eastern. Double XP on Wednesdays, 7 Central, 8 Eastern. K, Pun, Tyler talking all things video games. But tomorrow, Sports Report. Will, Tony C, Dirty Dan, 7. I think I'm going to pop in because I got some shit to say about my motherfucking Texans. 0-40. 0-40.
Yep.
But truly, I'm probably going to shock some people because I am actually going to play. I hope. I'm going to give it a sneak peek here. I really hope that people don't take these games of Davis Mills and write him off. People need to remember this man was never supposed to be starting this season.
That's true.
3 years
That's true.
was the time frame they had laid out for Davis Mills.
That's true.
3 years.
That's true.
They had no other choice but to play him.
That's facts.
He's only started 13 games since college. You got to give the man a chance. He should not be playing right now.
I'll say one thing, though. I'll say one thing though. This ain't gonna this ass whipping he took today ain't gonna do nothing but make him tougher. Ain't gonna make him a better player down the road.
I just it could be beneficial for him. I'm talking to fans. I'm talking to coaches. I'm talking to scouts. This cannot write this kid's career because we've seen it. Guys come out, have one bad season. Sam Darnold was pretty much already written off. And you look at the season, he didn't have a great day with today. But he's had a pretty good season with North Carolina. And he was pretty much written off with the Jets. So, but, all right. So, AEW 2-year anniversary coming up of Dynamite this Wednesday. Holy shit. It's still just a t-shirt company though, right? Well,
this t-shirt.
They now hold the records for biggest pay-per-view of a non-WWE wrestling company in the last 20 years. Biggest TV show of biggest sellout of a wrestling show of a non-WWE company in the last 20 years. Best ratings of a weekly wrestling TV show of a non-WWE in the last 20 years. They're selling out just about every arena they go to right now. They're outselling WWE. I think we covered this a few months ago.
What?
When they first discussed going to Cincinnati, they wanted to go to the 5th. I can't even remember the venue. But they wouldn't because they're friendly with WWE. They wouldn't book them. So they went into the second biggest venue in Cincinnati. Booked it. Ended up selling it out. WWE booked it and just was there. Ended up selling less there than AEW sold in the second largest venue.
My only concern for AEW, they have to keep this momentum. They have to keep it going. It's not something that they can say, we did this. Now we can sort of kind of rest on our laurels. No, you got to keep going. You got to keep making. You got to make your supporters happy.
Yes. Well, and I think that's why they're seeing the success that they're seeing.
Yeah.
Is they have for the last 2 years. This time last year, a lot of people were shitting that they hadn't kept their promise. Blah blah blah. But in the last year, they've totally turned that around. There's the Young Bucks kind of had their run as champions. I think Kenny's coming to his end of his run. I think you're going to start seeing more and more AEW guys holding titles.
Y'all want to win me over? Y'all get rid of the Young Bucks. Y'all get rid of the Young Bucks. You don't win me over.
Well,
I'll be watching all the
rumor?
What?
Did you hear this rumor?
What?
That Tony Khan has taken away creative control from all the EVPs, and they basically have no power.
Really?
It is a rumor, but if you read the articles that this rumor is coming from, it is not the case. What it is every EVP is designated a portion that they kind of focus on.
Okay.
Kenny Omega's is the gaming.
Okay.
I believe Cody is really the only one that focuses on like show running and things like that.
Okay.
And the Bucks, Nick and his wife do merchandising. Matt and his wife, or Matt does something else, or Matt kind of does everything with BTE and does all that.
Okay.
So that's what it is.
Okay.
And then the EVPs really have never had creative control over the show. That's always been Tony.
Right.
People want to. Now there is another rumor that the EVPs and Cody aren't really friends, but this is my argument there. Cody a new daddy. Cody don't got time for shit.
Facts.
Coming from buddy, guess what?
What?
Your niece is potty trained.
Oh shoot!
Did that this weekend.
Awesome, man.
Holy
awesome. That's awesome, man.
So coming from a guy who just went through that, he don't have time for no friends. He got time for his really busy job and his family, and that's about it.
That about it.
I did want to bring up Roads to the Top debuted on TNT this week. Their new reality show. People shitting on it, but to me, it reminds me so much of Total Bellas, except it's way more about the behind the scenes of AEW.
Isn't Brie gonna be on a game show?
Nikki just signed
Nikki
with NBC to host a new version of America's Got Talent called Extreme America's Got Talent. It's going to be her, Simon Cowell, and Travis Pastrana on the judges' desk.
How you gonna have trash up there judging people? Trash. How you gonna do that?
So it doesn't really surprise me. But all right, so to me, the AEW is heading in a strong direction.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with what you say. You got to keep up the momentum.
Yes.
But on that same note, like the fans also have to understand is the debuts aren't always going to continue. There's going to be lulls. There's going to be points where it kind of bottoms out and things kind of, and then it picks up, and that's what wrestling is.
That's what it is. That's what it is.
And then, I mean, right now we all know Bray's going to debut at some point soon. Mm-hmm. Like it's going to happen soon. We'll talk more about AEW and as things come up, but I want to dive into this to the anniversary show. And I'm pulling it up.
Hashtag get ready to Young Bucks. Hashtag get ready to Young Bucks. Y'all make it happen. Y'all make it happen.
So salty.
I'll come down there. I'll do a run in on them.
Salty ass.
I'll bring 2 steel chairs. I don't give a damn.
All right. So what I'm pretty sure it's probably going to be the opening match because that's how AEW likes to do things. Mm-hmm. The Elite versus Bryan Danielson, Jungle Boy, Luchasaurus, and Christian Cage.
Oh, that's going to be the opening.
Probably the opening because that's how AEW likes to do things. All right. I'm loving Adam Cole in AEW. I think he's awesome. Adam Cole is just one of those guys. He's got that charisma that he can just do it everywhere.
And he fits in AEW.
Yeah, and like the whole him coming back with the Super Click and all that, it goes well. He fits in with the Elite. I love him. Him and Jungle Boy had a fucking banger of a match. And D-Bry, like we were saying earlier, Bryan Danielson is just one of the best guys to put on a pair of trunks right now.
Yep.
Jungle Boy is up and coming and is going to be a great performer. Christian Cage.
Let me ask you this about D-Bry. Do you think I know a lot of people that look at Bryan Danielson, however you want to call it, as the best wrestler in the world? You agree with that assessment?
Now, like just as of yes. Most people would some people would give that to Kenny Omega. Some people would probably say Okada. And I definitely want to see that match right there. Bryan Danielson.
Hell yeah.
Oh, give me that fucking match. Take my fucking money.
I'll still put AJ up there too.
I hate that this contract that AJ has with WWE is probably going to be his last. And I am praying to the fact that maybe he's watching all this going on. He's like, I've got to do one more. I've got to make a run in AEW. Even if it's just 6 months, a year.
That's all they got to do is a year. That's it.
I'm hoping AJ is carny as fuck. Like, he is a carny motherfucker. He is old school wrestling. He is like Doc. He is like Anderson. That's why they get along so well, those three. He is a carny motherfucker. And I believe that if they can get in his head and they can say, just give us 1 year. Just one run, 1 year, and then retire. Mm-hmm. I would love to see that because AJ is still putting up good work. He's still putting up quality fucking matches.
Yep.
The one out of this match, though, that I would really like to see more of a push for, and I think is getting a little underutilized for his talent. Luchasaurus is a talented motherfucker. He's good on the mic. He is good in the ring. If they're going to continue to push Jungle Boy as a single star and not put the tag team titles on these two, then they need to do something with Luchasaurus.
Well, Luchasaurus has three. He's got three things. He's got the wrestling skills. He got the mic skills.
Smart.
Yeah. He has everything you need, and I don't know why they won't push him more.
And the size, I mean, he's huge.
Yeah, big dude. That's a big dude.
So probably your kickoff match gonna be another banger of a match. Be a match that Jim Cornette shits on because it's probably gonna be a lot of spots. But this is actually one of the matches I'm most pumped for right here, and it's a women's match in AEW. Hikaru Shida is challenging to become the first woman in AEW with 50 wins. And she is facing Serena Deeb.
Do not count out Deeb, though. Don't count Deeb out.
I would love
Deeb can go.
To me, this could start a great storyline between these two. That if Deeb keeps her from winning this, maybe even twice.
Yeah.
And then the rubber match is at Full Gear in November.
You know what I want to see between those two? Let's take a page from Booking and Benoit, best of 7. Best of 7. Best of 7. You can make
you got AEW Women's Champion versus the former NWA Women's Champion. These are two very talented women. Serena Deeb was training in the WWE for several years.
Yep.
The next match.
Huge.
I tell you, as much as I popped for Sammy winning the title, I think I definitely popped harder for when they announced who his first defense was going to be. Sammy Guevara versus Bobby fucking Fish.
See. But that's what you're talking about, though, because you want to do something new. You want to do something new. You want to do something innovative, and there you go.
But see,
there you go.
But see, for this makes sense for that title. The TNT Championship is supposed to be a TV title.
Yep.
The TV title was meant to bring people in from other promotions to highlight them. Bobby just signed with MLW. This is exactly what I was just talking about.
Yeah.
Get MLW some more light on that, on the Forbidden Door. I am pumped for this.
Everybody I don't understand why this can't be, how can I say, the norm, so to speak. Because if becomes the norm, everybody gets love. Everybody gets highlighted.
Tony Khan has said it many a times. Us against them.
Yeah.
And that is every other wrestling promotion versus WWE.
Yeah.
Everybody versus this one company.
Yep.
And that's the only way you're going to make headway. The only way.
Mm-hmm.
Smart move. I think this is amazing. They also set up, during that, they set up a fight with, who came up at the end? Who was it? It was, was it FTR? Shit. Now my mind is blanking. Yeah, I don't remember. All right, next match. Casino ladder match, bro. So they've announced all the competitors for this. It's going to be a Pac, Andrade El Idolo, John Moxley, Lance Archer, Matt Hardy, Orange Cassidy, and then your Joker. And that's the part I want to talk about. So there's a couple of rumors for this one.
Dad, bro.
One of those rumors is, what is he going by now? It's Buddy Matthews. FKA.
Yeah.
Buddy Murphy. Is teasing a possible appearance as the Joker. Personally, I have an opinion here, and it's time for some cowboy shit. He's been out for going on 2 months now. Baby's been born. You got to start building back towards the AEW title.
Right.
So I think it's time for some cowboy shit to come back. Plus, I miss it. I miss his alcoholic ass. No, personally, I think that's more likely what you're going to see. I think Hangman makes his return.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's my opinion on that one. Probably going to be another great match.
Most def.
I want to see Archer get a strong push in AEW, though. Like, I'm tired of from him getting these like puny little shots that you know he's not going to win.
It's like giving somebody something just to shut them up because they've been complaining for so long. Okay, you've been complaining about this, that. I'm gonna give you this. But you'll take it because there's titles or championships or recognition involved. But at the end of the day, you know you won't be bringing the brass ring home. You know you won't. Yeah, I get what you're saying on that.
So that's all that's been announced. That's not a lot. 2 anniversary. Bray Wyatt debuts, right? You think?
I think so. You really want to keep your momentum going? You really want to keep the fans stoked?
Well,
that's the next thing to do.
Dude, and they're in Philly.
Ooh.
They're in one of the biggest wrestling.
You gotta do it.
I think if you didn't do it in Rochester last week, it's gotta be
Philly. Gotta be. Because you want to, like I say, you want to keep your momentum going. And that might be the coup de grace for real. That might not saying that they'll, you can take WWE down overnight, but that might be it for real.
That's another big name.
Yeah.
On AEW to come over. So
yeah, and a big name WWE just threw away like it was nothing.
But guys, that's really all I got for tonight. We talked a lot of the news that's been going on. I did want to talk some Dark Side of the Ring, but I think we're going to do a special episode to talk about those because there's a lot to cover. So we'll talk about that at a later date. We appreciate y'all joining us tonight. Y'all have a great week, and we will see y'all next week right here on PinFall Podcast.
Deuces.